rise in body or spirit as we sing our gathering hymn, number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple," and we sing it through twice. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Hillsborough. Okay. We are an opening and welcoming congregation. So,
keep talking.
Whether you're a member, friend, or guest, we are so glad you're here. I would like to thank everyone who has made this worship celebration possible, because it truly is a labor of love. Thank you to our musicians, including our musical director, Aviva Enoch, who is not here today, and to our guest musician, Tristan Ceremi, who is kindly standing in Aviva's absence. Additionally, thank you to Amy Dark for editing and producing our printed orders of service, and thank you to AC Tharrington for distributing it at the door. Thank you to our technical crew for broadcasting our service online, our RE teachers for helping guide our youngest attendees through their curricula, and the many other behind-the-scenes workers, including our building and grounds team, our finance team, our governance and ministry councils, our community outreach and fellowship teams, and of course, the rotating group of volunteers who provide our after-service coffee hour. And today we are also very lucky to be joined by Reverend Sasha Ostrom, who serves as the assistant minister at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Raleigh, where she is responsible for pastoral care, justice ministry, and adult faith formation. Before coming to UUFR 7 years ago, she earned her MDiv degree at the Starr King School for the ministry in 2014 and completed her parish internship at the First Unitarian Society of Madison in 2015. When not doing the work of ministry, Reverend Sasha can be found writing the third novel in her sci-fi fantasy series, spending time with her partner Smokey, and figure skating at local ice rinks. Before we create our sacred space and begin worship, let's take a moment to share any announcements. The only one I have is to check your cell phones to ensure they're silent during the rest of our worship time. But are there any other announcements?
Hi, I'm Patty O'Connor, and I just want to remind you that there's an intergenerational picnic coming up at Dave Bell and Nancy Valentine's on Lake Orange. It's a really lovely, lovely setting. It's a potluck, and there's a sign up in the order of, I guess there's information maybe in the order of service, I haven't looked yet, and online in the news. You can sign up for something to bring if you like. Bring a kayak, bring a paddleboard, bring your appetite, bring your conversational skills. It is July 8th with a rain date of July 9th. And cornhole, I have a cornhole game to bring too, so.
Good morning, I'm Annabelle, and I just have a few quick announcements about coffee hour. One, I just wanted to make sure, does everybody get enough coffee? Because I've been doing 18 cups, and if that's not enough, then I can always make more.
I'll be enough today.
Okay. And then, this isn't that big of an announcement, but I put the half and half in the really pretty cup, and then the non-dairy creamer in the not-so-pretty cup. But I labeled them just to make sure, but I think I want to start doing that because I don't want to just put the non-dairy creamer out like in the carton because it's kind of ugly. No offense to manufacturers. And then my last one is, two more, but they're kind of the same. We need people to sign up for July for coffee hour, and I can do most of the setting up. So if you are worried about setting up, not having enough time to get here, that is totally fine. I can set up. I just need people to bring snacks because today, if Patty wasn't here, we would have no snacks, just a little bit of guava cookies, and that was it. So we need some people to bring some snacks if that's okay, and then maybe cleaning up because I can't always stay here to clean up. Thank you.
Close the door.
Oh, sure.
Good morning, I'm Jerry Morris, and I'll be the listening ear for today. If you've got some things you'd like to talk about, I'd like to talk to you. Thank you.
If there are no more announcements, let us now prepare for our worship time together by reminding ourselves of who we are and why we gather. We are a community of liberal, open-minded people who strive to connect with one another in love. We are a people defined by covenant, not creed. That means that we have committed to a way of being with one another rather than to a statement of belief. To that end, we support each other in spiritual growth and deepening of faith. We challenge one another to find more love, both inside ourselves and in the world. And today, we welcome you with open arms to our house of worship.
As we go ahead and settle into our time together, I offer these words by the Reverend Scott Taylor, and may they help center our minds and our hearts this morning. We are all playing it up, playing it down, trying to play fair, playing for keeps, playing favorites, playing it safe, sometimes too safe. He plays hardball. They're playing house. I'm playing it by ear, or at least learning to play it by ear. She's tired of playing second fiddle. He's playing right into their hands. Please, God, can't we all throw the playbook out and start again? Sometimes we're just played out. It's not always bad to play possum. And what about playing with fire? Let's hope so, friends. Don't you want to feel again that burning within and let it loose? In this moment, may it begin. Now, if you will go ahead and rise and embody your spirit again for our opening hymn, it's number 301, Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky.
Wonder
Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a sharing community where our joys are celebrated, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. Each Sunday, we take some time to reflect on the concerning happenings or special events that have occurred this week among our members and friends. Some choose to share aloud, while others choose to remain silent, and here we make room for both. For those of you who would like to share aloud, please take a moment before we begin to center yourself and collect your thoughts so that what you share this morning is personal, heartfelt, and brief. When you are ready, please come forward, tell us your name, and share what is in your heart. When you are finished, you may release a stone into the vase on the altar. For those of you who prefer to silently acknowledge your joys and sorrows remaining in your hearts, I invite you to come to the altar and release a stone into the vase in silence while Tristan plays Spirit of Life. After he plays it through one time, you are all invited to join in singing one verse of the hymn, and the words are printed in your orders of service. We hold all these things within the heart of this community, both spoken and unspoken, by remaining silent for a moment as we consider what has been shared and how we might respond. Let us close with Amen and blessed be.
Amen. Blessed be.
Now at this time we would normally sing our children to class, but there are no children. So I guess, yeah, there's no children.
For our reading this morning, I offer you a variety of short quotations on the subject of play. Every December, I host a tree trimming party. I serve chili and cornbread and lots of good wine. It's a wonderful party, and it shows how much adults love to play. Maya Angelou. Play is anything that we do for the joy and love of doing it, apart from any profit, compulsion, or sense of duty. It is the real living of life with the feeling of freedom and self-expression. Walter Rauschenbusch. To play is to listen to the imperative inner force that wants to take form and be acted out without reason. It is the joyful, spontaneous expression of one's self. Michelle Casso and Stuart Kubley. From the Greek word selig, which means blessed, comes the English word silly. I like to think that there is something sacred about the ability to be silly, to play, to laugh, and be childlike. June Mac Muffin. In play, we move below the level of the serious, as the child does, but we can also move above it to the realm of the beautiful and the sacred. Johann Holzinga. And forget not that the earth delights to feel your long to play with your hair. Cahill Gibran. Who says God has to be so serious all the time? That God can't have some fun, go on a lark, crack a good one? Who says that God can't evolve a platypus instead of a woodchuck, or a flightless bird as just a joke? Or give you a gorgeous sunset just to see the expression on your face? Jesus' first miracle was a party trick. Pure fun. Wine from water. The Reverend Steve Garnes Holmes. And finally, it is neither work nor play, purpose nor purposelessness that satisfies us. It is the dance in between. Bernard de Coven. And now if you will rise and body your spirit for number 311, Let It Be a Dance.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the
cha-cha-cha at the end there. A few years ago, back when I was still in seminary preparing to become a Unitarian Universalist minister one day, I had a job at Xerox. There I worked as an accounting administrative assistant in Xerox's accounts payable department. There were 5 other people on my particular accounts payable team, and for a bunch of people who sat hunched over keyboards, crunching numbers all day, we were a fun-loving group. Yes, even the accountants. One man, our team lead, loved to crack jokes and trick us with gentle pranks. Another co-worker at Xerox was always telling amusing stories to compare her life growing up in Poland to various parts of life in the United States that she found hilarious. Another team member, a deeply devout Christian, knew that I was in seminary and so often responded to my work-related inquiries with humorous Bible verses. And another co-worker always got the whole team to dress up each Halloween and decorate our cubicles, like the year that we pretended to be a touring band of groupies at Woodstock and transformed our cubicles into VW vans and spent literally about a week doing nothing but this, no work. And then there was our co-worker Holly. One day when I asked Holly what she enjoyed doing during her spare time, she gave me a look of such abject confusion that I added, what do you do for fun? And Holly shrugged and she said, I don't know, cook dinner, watch TV. And I thought, surely there must be more. So I elaborated and I said, what are your hobbies? Do you paint? Do you sing? Do you play sports or board games? She finally answered with some scorn, I don't do that kind of stuff. I'm an adult. So often when we think about play, we think about children. Childhood is supposed to be a light-hearted time of fun and games, or at least that's our hope for every child. Kids play. But adults? We often associate adult life with work. Many adults have jobs, and even if we're unemployed or we're retired, there is still work to be done. We often have families to take care of and errands to run. Adults do housework, yard work, volunteer work, even self-work. After all that work of maintaining our lives, there isn't much time sometimes left over for leisure or for play. The Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that in the United States, the average employee works almost 9 hours a day, but engages in only 5 to 6 hours of leisure activities, with women enjoying less leisure time than men. And play is only one kind of leisure activity. So is reading a book or watching television, calling a loved one on the phone or going for a jog. These are all enjoyable, or at least potentially so, but they are not necessarily play. For example, when I am able, I spend many of my leisure hours at the ice rink. Most of the time that I spend there consists of taking figure skating lessons or practicing jumps and spins that my coach gave me to work on during those lessons. I enjoy my leisure time at the ice rink, but I wouldn't necessarily call it play. Instead, I play at the rink when I stop drilling techniques and skate freely to the music. I play when I experiment with moving the way my body wants to move without concern about whether the technique is perfectly correct or not. I play at the rink when I glide and jump and spin just for the sheer joy of doing so without worrying about what others may think of it. I play when I allow myself to let go and risk looking silly, which you often do in ice skates. And looking silly can be something that's hard for adults to do. Play is seen as the domain of children, and as such is often seen as childish. An adult who plays might be seen as immature, irresponsible, undignified, or trivial. Play is sometimes seen as a wasteful, frivolous, and self-indulgent misuse of time and sometimes even of money. It is sometimes seen as an irresponsible distraction from more important things. You may have seen a joke circulating recently on social media. The joke compares European and American out-of-office replies. First, there is the European out-of-office reply. I'm away camping for the summer, it reads. Email again in September. And then there's the American out-of-office reply. I have left the office for 2 hours to undergo kidney surgery, but you can reach me on my cell at any time. And even when adults do allow ourselves time away from our responsibilities to let loose and play, so often we are pressured to do so in ways that don't necessarily serve our own well-being so much as our capitalist society. Such a high value is placed on our productivity and our professionalism that play sometimes only feels justified if it has a positive impact on our workplace performance. For example, when I was doing research for this sermon on the amount of time that workers in the United States spend on leisure activities, the very first search result that popped up on Google was telling. It was an article titled, How to Spend Your Leisure Time to Be More Successful. So rather than playing for the sheer joy of it, adults are encouraged to play in ways that will help us to get ahead in the game of life or to play act our roles to perfection. If play does not serve in these very particular ways, it can be seen as inappropriate or a waste of time. Play, our society tells us, must not distract us from our adult responsibilities. But these are lies. They're lies that our society tells us about how to play, about how play and its appropriateness aren't just innocuous little lies. They are lies that hurt us on a soul deep level. In James Matthew Barrie's Peter Pan, there's this really sad little scene. One day, when Wendy was about 2 years old, she was playing in a garden. And she plucked another flower and ran with it to her mother. And I suppose she must have looked rather delightful, for Mrs. Darling put her hand on her heart and cried, "Oh, why can't you remain like this forever?" That was all that passed between them on the subject, but henceforth, Wendy knew she must grow up. You always know after you were 2. 2 is the beginning of the end. So many of us tell ourselves that we ought to leave play in childhood along with other childish things, but George Bernard Shaw had it right when he said, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. Adults need play every bit as much as children do, and we need real play. Not the kind that we do in service to our adult responsibilities, but the kind of play that we do for the sheer joy of doing so. Because the lies that our society tells us about the appropriateness of play for adults is poison, and play is a soul-healing balm. Let me give you an example. This past week, many Unitarian Universalists have been attending General Assembly, the General Assembly of our Unitarian Universalist Association, online or in person, and I know Lou is serving as one of your delegates this year. And if you've ever been to GA or you've been kind of paying attention online, you might have noticed some people are wearing wearing blue lipstick. People of all genders, including ministers and other religious professionals, have been wore blue lipstick in honor of Blue Lipstick Saturday at General Assembly. This is a real thing. It's a wonderful thing. And every year, General Assembly brings together Unitarian Universalists from congregations all over the United States and sometimes around the world for a time of worship, learning, business, and yes, play, because it's sacred. In a Facebook post, my colleague, the Reverend Casey Slack, once talked about the history and the meaning of Blue Lipstick Saturday at General Assembly. They wrote, "In the years since Blue Lipstick Saturday unofficially began as a silly thing among friends, I have seen over and over that it is not just a silly thing. It is a joyful thing. It is an invitation to resist respectability politics and ideas that our whole loud, glamorous, intense queer selves don't fit what it means to be a religious professional, a person of faith, or a person who gets to be in public at all. It is an invitation to recognize the absolute joy of being many different people, all made of the sparkly and mundane dust of creation, fully imbued with holy creativity, possibility, and yes, shine." Adults need play every bit as much as kids do. Play helps us to resist and to recover from the toxic messages that our society feeds us every single day. And play is holy work. Play can help us to deepen our relationship with the sacred. When we allow ourselves to play, we open ourselves up to creative processes that are unfolding around us and within us. And because we don't simply observe play, but we participate in it, play is one way that we become co-creators with the forces that give, sustain, heal, renew, and transform life for the good. Ben Witherton, paraphrasing the theologian Jürgen Moltmann, says it this way: "Play is kingdom foreshadowing. It is a momentary escape into the future reality that God intended for us all." Diane Ackerman, on the other hand, talks about deep play as a sort of spiritual realm, the sacred playground where only the present moment matters. One's history and future vanish. The deep play world is fresh, wholly absorbing, and full of its own unique wisdom and demands. And G.K. Chesterton said it succinctly: "Earth is a task garden, heaven is a playground." Chesterton, Moltmann were both Christians, were both talking about an afterlife when they referred to heaven and the kingdom, but I mean something a little bit different. As Unitarian Universalists, we know that another world, a better world for all of us, is possible. Whatever each of us believe lies on the other side of death, our faith tradition teaches us that it is possible to build a heaven on earth in this life. And I'm not talking about some far distant future in a utopia, but about our ability to open ourselves up to the life-giving potential that is all around us in every single moment. And when we do so, we can become co-creators right now with the sacred, bringing forth more joy, more beauty, more compassion, and more community with our everyday actions. And one way that we're able to do this is by letting ourselves play, by opening ourselves up to joy, imagination, and creativity without any restraint. And play is this absolutely amazing thing. I mean, think of a young child at play. My niece Aspen used to play princess when she was little. I remember her showing me her room once when she was maybe 4 or 5 years old. She was wearing a crown and a princess dress, and she carried a little wand as a scepter. And she had arranged all of her stuffed animals and dolls in her room, so they were piled up on her bed. And some of them were across the room in a toy chest. And she invited me into her room, and she wanted to give me orders. And at first I thought, oh no, let's not play this kind of game. Let's not play the game about having power over others and dominating others. But then she told me that there was water all over her kingdom. A flood, or some kind of natural disaster it seemed, although she called it water all over. And the animals in the chest, they were in a boat. They were safe, but the animals on the bed needed help. She, the princess, needed to tell me how to save the animals on the bed and get them to the boat. And I thought this was really interesting. She was just playing, but she was playing with some really serious stuff. She was using her imagination to explore real problems that might face a community. And she was thinking through what the responsibilities of a leader of a community might be. She was trying to come up with compassionate solutions to the problems and ways to enact them. And she was practicing leadership and other valuable skills. Just as Aspen was playing at making a kingdom a better place, so too can we use play to fire up our imaginations about what a better world might look like and how to bring it into being. Our churches are places where we can come together to do that. When I think about this better world, I think of a line from the book of Isaiah, chapter 11. The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. And that passage always reminds me of the way that animals play. The way that play helps them to not only learn the survival behaviors of their species, but also helps them to learn to be in community with others, even others sometimes very different from them. And right now I'm not thinking about wolves and lambs and leopards and goats and calves and lions, but about skunks and humans. So shortly after my niece Aspen turned 12 years old, she went from playing with stuffed animals in the playground of her bedroom to playing with, you guessed it, skunks in the playground of her backyard. When my sister Malia and her family moved here to North Carolina, they discovered that their backyard was home to a skunk. She lived in a hole underneath the patio. And at first, as you might imagine, this realization dismayed my sister and her family. But as weeks turned into months, they learned through one careful and curious interaction at a time that humans and skunks, it turns out, can live together peacefully. The skunk hunted snakes and other pests in the yard, which my sister appreciated. In return, my sister and her kids didn't try to shoo away the skunk, which the skunk appreciated. And so the skunk didn't try to spray my sister and the kids, which they appreciated. And 4 months later, one skunk turned into a mama skunk and a litter of 4 adorable baby skunks, or stink kittens, as my sister called them. And these little babies soon started venturing out into the world. And they were way less afraid of human beings than their mama was, who stayed away from my sister and her family. Not the babies, though. They came right up to my sister and the kids, close enough, eventually, to pet. The baby skunks weren't wise enough to know not to play with humans. My sister's kids weren't wise enough to know not to play with skunks. And so they tapped into a different kind of wisdom. They figured out one another one day at a time, one gentle, playful interaction at a time. And the baby skunks played with each other and those kids like kittens. They tumbled about and practiced the survival skills of their species. They used to steal small toys from the yard and drag them back under their hole under the patio. They even tried to climb into my sister's lap, which was a hard pass for her, cute or not. And for several months, 5 humans and 5 skunks continued to peacefully and playfully coexist. No tomato juice needed. They had a mutually beneficial relationship going, and it developed through experimentation, openness, creativity, attentiveness, and joy, or what one could call play. Play isn't just fun and games, although it can be. There can be an element of risk at play. Whether it is the risk of being sprayed by skunks while tossing them a toy, falling off of a bicycle that you're learning to ride, or making a fool of yourself while allowing yourself to be silly. But there can also be these absolutely amazing rewards: deep engagement, new relationships, new skills, joy, self-expression, a renewed appreciation for the world, feelings of freedom and energy, rejuvenation, creativity, imagination, and hope. For you can't have hope without imagination. And play is also a form of learning. It's exploration and discovery, experimentation and practice, all one step at a time. All of these are necessary if we're going to learn how to live in a more just, loving, and sustainable world. That work is really hard sometimes. Playful delight in the work helps make that work lighter. Play can help us to build heaven on earth, a kingdom where all people and all beings coexist and enjoy life's abundance together. So friends, we need play in our lives. We don't just need play to help us perform our everyday responsibilities more efficiently, but also to help us live life more deeply and make a better world for all. And play is also a healing balm to the soul in a world that so often tells so many of us that we lack worth as we are. Play helps us to connect in joyful ways with the forces that give, sustain, and transform life. And play helps us to tap into those forces in co-creative ways that help bring possibilities, new ways of being, and even a new world into view. May we all find some time in our lives for a little bit of fun. May we find it in ourselves the ability to approach life and the challenges and opportunities of our lives with a playful attitude. May we make space for that which brings us deep joy, simply because it brings us deep joy. May we go play. Blessed be, and amen.
Each week, we take a monetary offering to support our social justice work in the community. Our plate collection this month goes to OCIM, serving people in need in Northern Orange County. You may donate by putting cash or a check in the basket. Make checks out to UUCH and put plate in the subject line. You may also donate online by scanning the QR code in the orders of service.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Please join me in our prayer of collective gratitude found in your order of service. For the love that surrounds us every morning, for the friends beside us, and for the generous gifts just received, let us be truly grateful. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, number 338, I Seek the Spirit of a Child.
Let's end with the words of Matt Meyer. May we go forth in purposeful rhythm, that we may give voice to the melody of our imaginations, the music of our souls, and the possibilities of a just world as we may together create it. Go in peace and go in joy.
Now I will extinguish the chalice. So please join me in saying the chalice extinguishing words printed in your orders of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace and blessed be.